Ladies and gentlemen, I could care less about how great your insurance telesales presentation is. Ladies and gentlemen, I could care less about how great your face-to-face presentation is, because it all doesn't matter if you cannot nail the first 30 seconds of starting that telesales call or starting that appointment setting call. And the purpose of today's training is to teach you how to nail the first 30 seconds, whether you're selling over the phone, whether you're setting an appointment, with the express purpose of giving you the exact script that gets agents across the country results. And not only am I going to break down that script and show you exactly how it works, I'm going to actually share with you 2 examples of agents using the same kind of script so that you can actually see the stuff really works and gets results. So stick around for more of that. Hey, Dave Duford here at the Ford Insurance Group, where I train and recruit agents nationally to sell final expense Medicare and annuities. Check out what my agency has to offer to see if you're a good fit at davidduford.com/FAQ. So jumping right in, no matter whether you sell over the phone telesales or you just use the phone to set an appointment, there's really a breakdown in 3 or 4 distinct phases to the opening 30 seconds of your presentation. The first one is the introduction, and that's pretty much the simplest beginning, but actually one of the most important. Because as much as we talk about how important it is to nail the first 30 seconds, it's just as or more equally important to nail the first 5 seconds. You got to give your prospect you're talking to a reason for them to continue listening to you. And one of those things they need to have satisfied is knowing who you are and why you're calling. So the introduction sounds something like this: whether I'm calling to set an appointment or I'm calling to begin an insurance telesales presentation. Hey, Randall, Dave Duford here, getting back to you about that information you requested about our new state-regulated final expense program you requested through the mail. So just in that short 5 or 6 seconds, I've established who I was, I've established why I was calling, and then also I make clear that I know who they are. Notice I didn't ask if it's Randall. I said Randall, assuming that they are familiar to me. They're going to reciprocate and think, well, who is this person calling? This is somebody that I know, and they're going to lean into the conversation that much more and be more intentful in listening to you. So this is how I want you to open all of your presentations, whether you sell over the phone or certainly when you set appointments over the phone. The next step is to explain the reason why you're calling. So of course, we've introduced who we are and what we're getting back to them about. Well, now the next phase is to explain what our intentions are to do. And so if I'm getting to this section of the presentation, I want to make sure they understand that I'm calling them back because essentially I'm doing my job to deliver the information they wanted, to help them answer the questions, so on and so forth. So here's how it sounds when I include the beginning of that script. Hey, this is David Duford calling you back about that information you requested on Facebook about our new state-regulated final expense program. You said your favorite hobby was fishing. And the reason I'm calling is that it's my job to explain how these programs work, to give you the information you requested. So the reason why I'm calling is to help them out. And I explain it expressly and intentfully so that they know as they continue to listen to me what the reason is that I'm calling, and that there's no funny business. I'm getting back to them about something they requested, and I'm using terminology that makes that clear. And again, this is something I would use either setting an appointment to see them face-to-face, or if I'm opening a telesales call on an outbound type of procedure. So the last point is the most important point, and that is the close or the continuation of the telesales presentation. Now, both are closes in a sense, because you close with asking a question or a command or having the client do something for you. But how we administer that is going to differ between if you're setting an appointment in person or if you're continuing an insurance telesales conversation over the phone. Let's start first with the appointment setting, and then we'll talk about the insurance telesales call and to kind of differentiate between the two. So to start the appointment setting script from the top, it sounds something like this. Hey, Randall, David Duford getting back to you about that information you requested about our new state-regulated program on Facebook. You said that your favorite hobby was fishing. I'm calling because it's my job to deliver the information to you, and what you decide to do with it is entirely up to you. I'm going to be in your neighborhood tomorrow and wonder if I could stop by at 10 o'clock, or does a 2 work better? So with this script, what I've done in the close is I've given the person 2 alternative options of seeing me. Note, most importantly, I didn't give them an option not to, right? Think about what I just said. Can I come at 2 o'clock or does 10 work better? I'm giving them 2 yes options. We call this the alternate yes close. When we don't present a no as an option to our prospect, guess what? We close more yeses. We see more people. So it just makes sense to remove that option, not even give the client the opportunity to say no, and just give them the freedom of choice, but make sure that we assume that they're going to see us. And what happens from this is we book a lot more appointments from it. Now let's talk about what we say when we're doing an insurance telesales presentation, because how we continue the conversation is a little different. Because if we're doing an insurance telesales call, especially an outbound call to a lead, we want to make sure that we're getting into the presentation. So after the initial introduction that we just stated, the next phase is to really just continue with a question. And it's like closing, but we're closing into the rapport building section. As a pro tip here, guys, a lot of your leads that you're using have some kind of favorite hobby. So I would lead with a question about that favorite hobby. But of course, if you don't have that, but you've got where they live, the city and state, you can start there, then build into the other rapport questions that you should have in your training. There should be a couple of different rapport questions that you do ask, so you want to make sure you have that all handy and ready to roll. So let me go through a script of an insurance telesales presentation to explain how this would actually sound. Hey, Randall, Dave Dufour, getting back to you about that information requested on Facebook about our new state-regulated final expense programs. You said that your favorite hobby was fishing. The reason I'm calling is it's my job to show you how these programs work and explain it to you. All I need is a few minutes to explain the details, and what you do with it's up to you. And so I see, like you said, you love fishing. Where do you fish down in Chattanooga, Tennessee? So what I've done there is I've transitioned from that introductory statement into a conversation about the client's hobby. Again, what's nice about having a hobby is everybody likes talking about themselves, especially things that they're very interested in. And we know by default, if their favorite hobby's fishing, they're going to love talking about fishing, probably to the point of exhaustion for us. But hey, we prefer that. So why not start off on the right foot and talk about something they're intrigued in? Again, if you don't have that, then use the list of rapport building questions, pick one and go into it, and proceed through the presentation from there. So last but not least is the X factor. There's one last little thing that makes or breaks you from being either a miserable failure trying to nail the first 30 seconds of your insurance telesales call, whether to set an appointment or to run the presentation, or to have monumental success. And that really comes down to not just reading the script, but actually performing it. This is a game changer once you realize this. Whenever you use the phone for any kind of prospecting or sales presentation strategy in the insurance business, you have to nail the script. Sure, you got to read it right, but you more importantly have to perform the thing right. You see, when you use the telephone, your voice modulates in a way that's not as easy to understand and exacerbate as it would be if you were face to face. So you have to take careful steps to perform the script. One exercise I like to tell agents to do is visually imagine you're on stage in a play. You're an actor on stage. How does an actor on stage with a large audience that's very deep and maybe people in the back can't hear you, how does that actor perform the script to convey the writer's emotions that they gave to that character? Well, an actor does things like they use their body language more in a more over-the-top way, if you will. They speak louder, they speak more enthusiastically, or they speak in an emotive way that really draws more out of that emotion than if you were just face-to-face with the person where you're having a personal conversation. Maybe you don't need to have that kind of range of emotive capabilities. So the telephone, again, it removes body language. It removes the physicality that even somebody on stage communicates, certainly face-to-face with the client. And so it's that much more important to purposely and intentfully perform the script in a way that can be heard on the other end of the line and transcribed in the mind of that prospect as someone who is enthusiastic, sharp as a tack, and absolutely an expert and wants to help. That all has to be communicated by how you're saying the script. So the best thing you can do, guys, is simply record yourself, listen to how you sound, ask people that you trust to give you honest advice if you sound good or if you need some kind of improvement, this is a big deal. And it goes a very long way in your success appointment setting, and certainly a very, very long way in your attempts to get results in selling any kind of insurance over the phone. So last but not least, I want to spend some time actually having you listen to what both an opening appointment setting call sounds like, that's really good, as well as an insurance telesales opening call that also sounds excellent. And the purpose of me doing this is to connect the training that you're hearing today to seeing how it actually sounds in the real world. What I've discovered in training thousands of agents in my career recruiting nationally is that if we can actually show you examples of the said script we're teaching working, it's going to help you believe in it more and actually take it to heart and take action on it, seeing that actual people are getting results. So the first script here is the appointment setting script. We're going to go to the insurance telesale script second. But this appointment setting script is from a very top producing agent in my agency named John Dean. He's at or over 250 Medicare plans as of AEP 2021, which is an incredible feat. Inside of 10 weeks, wrote 250 applications, close to 800, I think, total Medicare Advantage applications in 2021. This man sets all of his own appointments. He's an appointment setting machine, and you're about to listen to an actual call where he sets his own appointment. So let's jump over there and listen to that and think about how his tonality is, and think about how a script reflects the psychology and the structure that we taught earlier.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, Shirley?
Yes.
Hey, Shirley, this is John, and I'm actually just getting back to you in regards to a card that you had filled out and sent back in to us. It was in regards to the Medicare savings programs for Kansas residents for the 148 back in. Okay, you remember doing that?
I think so.
Okay, great.
I get so many things in the mail. I'm like, which one? And is it all okay and legal or what?
Right, yeah. Well, dear, you put down that your age is 79. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Well, I'm actually the local field underwriter here in the Wichita area, and it's basically my job to give you this information and see if you do qualify. I am going to be in your area tomorrow. Would 12:15 work for you, or would 1:15 be better?
So that was John doing his exemplary example of setting an appointment to see somebody face to face. And again, even if you don't sell Medicare, the truth is that this same structure that John uses, you can absolutely use when you set appointments. Again, go back and listen to it. Notice his tonality. Notice his structure, his pacing. He's not rushing through the script. He's performing it well. He sounds very friendly on the phone and does an absolutely excellent job. Now let's switch gears and listen to an insurance telesales presentation opening call. This is from an agent of mine named Philip. And let's listen to him doing an outbound call to a Facebook lead and how he starts the presentation off.
Hi, good morning. My name is Philip. I'm reaching out to you about the information you requested on Facebook about the final expense life insurance. You mentioned your favorite hobby is sewing. Is that correct?
Sewing, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, good morning. Well, first and foremost, my name is Philip. Again, I am a licensed insurance agent in the state of Florida, and I'm giving you a call to deliver the information about the programs that you requested, okay?
Okay.
All right. I do need to let you know, too, the call is recorded for a quality purpose. Before we get into any details, I just wanted to check in, see how you're doing with everything that's going on in the world with the pandemic and everything like that.
So there's an example of an insurance telesales outbound call using the same kind of structure you heard. It's a little different than exactly how I did it, but the structure and the psychology still retains. Philip has a great phone presence. He's performing the script. He's not over the top, but he sounds warm. He sounds like he cares. He's paced. He sounds interesting. He's not dull and monotonous. And he goes through the process of explaining who he is, why he's calling, and what his intentions are. Ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of today's training is absolutely imperative. You have to learn how to do this if you want any semblance of success if you use the phone in your insurance sales business. If you're not as good, and I'll be frank with you, if you're not as good as Philip, or if you're not as good as John, you're going to really suffer in your abilities to connect with your prospects and to continue the conversation to either a booked appointment or into the rapport building of your insurance telesales call. And one bit of advice, and I've mentioned this a couple of times, but it's absolutely, again, imperative that you take this to heart, is you got to record yourself. The recording of you giving that presentation or starting the call or setting the appointment is going to make or break you. Just listen to how you sound and soberly assess if you sound like somebody interesting to talk to. Because if you don't, then you're going to tap out and fail out of the business. Just frankly how it's going to sound. Now, maybe if you're face-to-face, you can get away with it, hire an appointment setter, maybe do more door knocks of your clients and just stay away from appointment setting. But especially if you're a telesales agent, guys, if you can't nail that first 30 seconds, this business is going to suck, okay? Just to be blunt with you. Rather be blunt with you than not, and you drop $1,000+ into leads and wonder, do the leads suck? When maybe, you need to fix something in your presentation. So a little tough love here. Examine yourself. Think about how you sound. And then honestly and soberly assess, is it as good as it should be? And if you don't trust your instincts, get somebody that you do. Reach out to me. I'll tell you if you got an opening script in 30 or 60 seconds. I'll tell you if it's great or if it's terrible. And then give you some advice on if you need to improve it. Ask your upline. They should be doing the job to service you anyway, right? But the point is, guys, is you got to get this down really well, nice and tight, or you're going to run into a lot of difficulties anytime that you try to do any kind of insurance, sales call over the phone, or appointment setting. I do hope you enjoyed this training and got a lot out of it. If you got any questions, comments, or concerns, you're always welcome to leave them below. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. If you enjoyed this kind of content, we put a lot of it out. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you as an audience. Thank you so much for being there. And we'll see you next time. Y'all take care.